Time to go, guys. Ready to roll.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It looks like we have a lot of things to get through. Welcome, everyone. Sheena, you want to open us with prayer?
Sure. Bow your heads, please. Father, we thank you for this time together this evening. We ask that the work that is done to honor you. Lord, help us to have wisdom and discernment in the decisions that are made here this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, introductions. We'll start with Josh.
Josh C.
Sarah Earl.
Audra Blackwell with ESG.
Sheena Van Meter.
Melvin Shook.
Dixie Dean.
Joey Mann.
Jennifer Strotterman.
Warren Savage. Roy Harper.
Janet Rose.
Sean Collars.
Bonnie Kratz. Okay, welcome, everyone. We have, looks like 4 presentations this evening. The first is maintenance and transportation updates that Josh is going to do for us.
Going backwards, back to the grass cutting, Warren asked me to tally up some numbers. We're right around $1,700 that we had to put into just miscellaneous items, batteries, belts, gearbox for the drive PTO on the lawnmower. We did use $117 worth of gas, 64 gallons of diesel, and we had 231 man hours in just the grass mowing on that when that went down. Around the county, some of the HVAC large items that we have, RTU 64 at Northwood Elementary School is still down and out. Did get a second quote for $29,000 for that. It's from a company that we've never used before. But we were just kind of waiting to see what ESG could find out for us on a couple different things before we really jumped on board with that one. But that RTU is completely down. The piece that we need is obsolete. We can't get it anymore. At the intermediate school, the third grade wing, Lloyd Tech, he cannot locate a sensor in there. It's working. It's 58 degrees in there some mornings. The air conditioner works fine, but we're having to adjust it throughout the day to try to make it comfortable in there for everybody. At the middle school, everything that was in the original contract is now 100% complete. But what we're waiting on is those water source heat pumps to arrive. They were shipped on the 28th. I talked to Adam just a little bit ago. They have not arrived yet. They don't have the arrival date. When they do arrive, they're going directly to LAPS facility. Once they arrive at LAPS facility, train will then go to LAPS facility. I believe it's up around you know where it is? It's around Cumberland. It's your neck of the woods up in there. Maybe around Fort Ashby. But once it comes in, they're going to take their time. They're going to go ahead and put the controls on in the facility rather than trying to do it up inside the ceiling. So they're going to do it down there and then they're going to bring them in. They didn't have a hard date yet on when they would start on that, but it's going to be within the next week or two. We're still, Hayden is still on a sedentary leave. So if you see a lot of work orders that are on the electrical side, we don't have an electrician in place. He's got light duty for possibly 4 weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're still down an electrician on that side of things. On the transportation side, you got some inspections late today. We did have one today. It seemed to me like the newer buses were giving us more issues than the older buses, which was, Andy and I have talked about it. Miller, we've talked about maybe even making the switch over to international. But Darren was telling us it's still the same engine, same transmissions, but those Allison transmissions are really giving us a headache. Those last 2 buses have been in the garage more than they've been on the road for us here lately. I told the drivers that I would communicate something for them. They are all, not all, but a lot of them are wanting some help with aids on their buses. The town buses, there's communication breakdown with the little kids. We did have a little girl that didn't even know where she lived. We had to bring her all the way back. She did not speak English. We had to look her up in the system, find her address, and then take her back home the second time. We've had, there's 70 kids right now that get off over at Little Peeps We have issues with that as well and our pre-Kers aren't even with us yet. So we're having some issues just with numbers but I told them I would voice their form. And the school opening, I think everything went fine. Everything went well, other than those two HVAC. The HVAC, which is always our biggest headache, is done fairly well, other than those two big outages that we've had. But other than that, I think we started out pretty good on the transportation facility side of things.
Josh, we had the, just because you weren't at the last board meeting, but we were in the library at MIS and we did have that checked out, that loud system, and there was a fan belt that was loose, that was tightened up so that, you remember the roaring noise when it would kick on and kick off. And I was told that the reason that that unit controls the whole third grade wing. So the library, the third grade wing, and all of those things are all on that same, controlled by that same thermostat unit. So like if it gets warm in one room, it'll kick on to cool that room, but it kicks on the unit. So even though you are hearing it over the library, it's kicking on, kicking off. It's controlling multiple rooms in different hallways. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I just thought I'd pass that along because I know those were some questions.
That's the one facility as well that I've asked ESG to really take a look at.
Yeah.
Just because of the way it's set up with VAVs, they work against us. If you guys remember, that's our smallest square footage building, but our most expensive to operate.
Mhm.
And I think there's some things there that they could possibly find. I don't know if they know the bus, Audrey, but that's just one of the places.
No pressure.
That we had, said was kind of a spot we looked at a little bit. Any questions?
I saw something on the work orders and I was just curious. Blinds for all of these rooms at East Hardy Elementary?
Yeah, so those are the ones I talked about before, that heavy gauge lintel. It's just eating the drill bits to pieces. It's making a lot of noise.
Okay.
And it's not really, a safety concern. It's more a teacher and principal
Aesthetic.
priority, aesthetic,
They
than
want it to
what
look
it
nice.
is for us. But it's going to be fairly expensive because the only way it goes through the lintel. The lintel's a really heavy gauge. And it's taken us several drill bits and a long time to drill through those lintels in order to mount those.
Okay, so is it ongoing or gonna get?
We can't do it when the students are in the building, but as students are gone, we'll put them in, take them out. We just don't close the work order. Some of them are complete, most of them are not. We can't like eliminate room 232, when we complete room 232.
Okay.
Because it's all in one work order.
And another thing was all the camera,
That's
That's
on
more
technology.
for us.
Yeah, I think Jessica has that. But the cameras fall underneath Jessica on the technology side of things.
okay,
I saw where the leaks, you know how you told us it was in the metal?
It is. I just got the vendor packets back from
Okay,
Tri-County Tools. And now it's just matching up when I can get Height Roofing here to take a look at it, their sheet metal department. And with the vendor packages also, one of our biggest things that we work on other than the HVAC is plumbing. Plumbing is always an issue. We had plumbing issues Friday night. We've had plumbing issues at Moorfield Elementary School the last 2 weeks. We have not received a vendor packet back from Plumb Master. Plumb Master is probably our largest vendor that we use, probably in all of receiving pieces for the buildings. We haven't received it back yet. We are down to like zero on some of the things, so we may have to start going to Central Tide until we can get it. We've been working on it ever since spring, and we just have not received one back from them yet. Yeah, it's a headache. It's my headache, I'll just let y'all know.
are they gonna fill it out or have they decided?
We've had Barbie, we've had phone calls, we've done, my email to her email doesn't even work. I get kicked back every single time, but Tom talks to her on the phone and Barbie's talked to her on the phone. They're trying. Yeah, we haven't received anything. It's been 6 months or better.
Well, I don't think they're gonna fill it out. I think I'd be looking for
I got
another
one
vendor.
too, bus driver, so much. What's going on?
wires in the library that need to be.
Already
removed
done.
or contained.
It's already complete.
It's done?
Yep.
Okay, just not. No.
Yeah, she prints those out on Wednesdays and we've done it since then. Our electrician was out, so I asked the guys just to go over and do it anyways.
Okay, I didn't know if it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a
it's
tripping hazard or,
Same.
no, it's not.
but it's done,
No,
okay.
it was just exposed wires coming out before. We've covered them up, cut them off and
Could have a screw taken out.
put a junction box. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Okay, moving along there. Audra from ESG is here tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to meet you all, finally. I know it's been a while. I just want to say hello and thank you for this opportunity to come in and speak with you this evening. I'm looking at this as a meet and greet, since we haven't really met yet. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to work with Hardy County Board of Education. Tonight, I just want to give you a little overview of how ESG works and what we do and that kind of thing and where we are in the process. So this is the agenda that we're going to go over. We're going to talk about ESG, our experience, your project, and the schedule. I want to give you a little bit of background on me. I'm a West Virginia native. I grew up in West Virginia and went to public schools and have a chemistry degree from WVU, chemical engineering from WVU Tech, and an MBA from Marshall University. I've been working in West Virginia now for about 30 years. So I worked for the state for about 15 years or maybe 18. Anyway, I worked for the Public Service Commission, worked for the State Treasurer's Office. I worked for the Public Service Commission as an engineer. And then I went to work for the State Treasurer's Office, and now I've been with ESG for going on 17 years this coming November. So I've been working a long time with ESG. So I'm really looking forward to doing a great project with Hardy County Board of Ed. So ESG is a national company. We work across the United States. We've done about $4.5 billion worth of infrastructure improvements throughout our history. And those projects have paid for themselves in part, over time and that kind of thing. And we have a lot of awards that we've won on behalf of our customers. And we're an energy services provider, which is the highest designation that can be achieved through this NAESCO, which is the National Association of Energy Services Companies. So that is just a website you can go to see, how we're accredited and, different projects and things like that. 40% of our business is from K-12 schools. So we've completed about $1.4 billion K-12 school projects. So we have a lot of experience. So just want to kind of let you know, we've done this before. We've been supporting West Virginia schools for 20 years plus. I've probably met or seen some of you at the West Virginia School Board Association. I've been attending that. I'm really the first booth you come to when you come up the steps at the Marriott. And we support the West Virginia Association of School Facility Administrators, the West Virginia Association of School Administrators, which is really the superintendents, but also other administrators that work on behalf of the schools, school board officials. So we support them in the highest way that we can with our sponsorships, attending their meetings, exhibiting, also giving presentations and things like that. So we've been supporting West Virginia schools for a long time. Also, we will sponsor luncheons at going back to school in certain, counties that we work with, end of school, teacher of the year, service personnel of the year, and those kinds of things. We do that for, different counties that we're working with. This just gives you a snapshot of a lot of the counties that we're working with in West Virginia. A lot of our counties have hired us for multiple phases of work, meaning that they're satisfied customers, meaning that they want us to do another project for them. So you can see Harrison County, for instance, has hired us for 4 phases of work. Mon County, 3 phases. Wyoming County, 3 phases. So that just gives you an idea that we have a lot of experience in the state of West Virginia. We also have a lot of solar experience. I understand this is why you even got started on, looking at this process was, thinking about the tax credits and those kind of things that you could take advantage of right now by doing a solar project. So we've done a lot of solar. We've done over $240 million worth of solar projects across the United States. These are just some to give you an example. These are some things that you could possibly do here. This is a walkway that's covered in solar, a carport that you could do at a parking lot, which I think is kind of interesting. You don't always have to put it on the roof of your building. You can do that as well. These are just some different things that we've done in different areas. So this is just, the sky view of a carport just so you get another idea. You can see these people, they did Howard County, Maryland, did carport, also on the roof. So you can mix it up a little bit.
Do you have any solar panel places like that in West Virginia?
No, We do not. I'm just gonna be honest with you, we don't. Okay, so basically, performance contracting, what is it? An overview, just for you. I just want, just in case you are not familiar with it and that kind of thing. It's an innovative design, build, construction approach, and where it modernizes the energy infrastructure in your facilities, and that creates savings in your utility bills or your utility spend. And that savings is what pays for your project in whole or in part over time, guaranteed. So when I say in whole or in part, what I mean is you can put local money towards the project to push your money further. You can use state, local, or federal funds in these projects. So the energy savings are guaranteed to you in the contract to help you pay for these projects. They are also turnkey, which means that we take care of everything from beginning to end. And the way I explain it is if you get your bathroom done at home, you want everything done. You don't want just a little bit of it done. You have to go back and do some of it yourself. You want everything done. You want everything taken care of. So when you go in to use it, it's ready to be used. You don't have to do a thing. It's expedited, meaning we have expedited construction timelines. We're a trusted advisor. We're an expert in HVAC. And we also, in our contracts, give you a firm fixed price with a guarantee of no change orders. And we'll help you identify funding sources, and there's no upfront costs. So that's basically performance contracting in a 5-second speech. Do you have any questions here? Okay. So where does the funding come from? This is really kind of showing you what I just said in a graphical form. So right now you have energy cost and maintenance costs. When you go and do the improvements to your facilities, the energy costs go down and the maintenance costs go down. And those savings that's left over is what helps pay for your project over time. So here's the process. It's really a 4-step process. Where you are is where this circle is. You're in development. We're in the process of doing your comprehensive audit, or what some people call an investment grade audit. We're looking at all your facilities, looking at any way that you may be using or losing energy. So we're looking at every piece of equipment that's out there. We're getting all the data on the equipment, all the model numbers, all that information, finding out, does it need to be replaced? How much is it going to cost if we put it in there? And how much is it going to save us? And that kind of thing. That's what we're doing right now. We actually had our 30% meeting, and we're getting ready to have a 60% meeting on September the 9th. So we're just now really scratching the surface. So I really don't feel like I'm under that much pressure right yet to tell you the answers to your problems, okay? So right now, I'm not saying you have problems. I'm just saying issues, challenges, whatever, however you want to look at those things that you want to get done or achieved in your county. So right now we're doing the audit. As we're doing that audit, we're actually working with contractors to get actual cost on those infrastructure improvements, or what we call energy conservation measures. We call them ECMs. That's our lingo, but you can just look at it as improvements. And once we figure out working together with the county as a partner, what that project scope looks like, we'll secure financing, working with you, and move forward to the contract. And the contract, we'll talk about that in a minute. And then once the contract is executed and has had a legal review and all that kind of thing, we move forward to construction. We call it delivery in our world, but it's really construction of that project. So I'll tell you a little bit about our contract, just so you know. It has been used successfully in West Virginia. It's been reviewed and approved by Bowles Rice and the Attorney General's office, also the State Board of Education, and it meets all West Virginia statutes. We provide bonding and insurance for our project. And also it specifies in the contract, what is the project, what's the scope, what is the cost, And we guarantee the no change orders in the contract, and we guarantee the savings. So it'll say, what is the savings amount in the contract? Those are the three things that you'll see in that contract when it's complete. The financing is not a profit center for ESG. We don't make money on it. Most West Virginia entities that I've worked with go through a lease purchase agreement to pay for their projects. You can use ESG's Director of Finance to solicit for proposals across the United States, get the lowest cost of money, or you can hire your own financial advisor to do that. That's up to the county. However you want to do that is fine. And it is a separate agreement from the performance contract, but they kind of go hand in hand. So when we get to that point, we will, be approaching the board for approval of the lease purchase agreement as well. So the next thing, this is what we had at our 30% meeting. This is a snapshot of what we're looking at for the county right now. And this will change as we go from 30, 60 to the 90% meeting, which I'll be telling you the schedule at the end here. But basically it's an iterative process between ESG and Hardy County administration. We're saying, well, we believe that you should do lighting upgrades at all your schools because that's going to generate a lot of energy savings for you. We're looking at solar at these facilities, and as we're looking at, is it financially feasible? Is it constructible? Are there things in the way? Is the land, if we're looking to put it on land, is it in the floodplain? Which we've already discovered that in one area. We might say, well, we don't think we should do it here for that reason. You know what I mean? So as we go from 30 to 60, we'll say, well, we really don't recommend you do this right here because of this reason. It might be not financially feasible. The constructability of it might be challenging because of these reasons, and so on. So this is really the beginning spot. And as we go along working together, the county representatives will tell us, we don't want to do that for this or this reason, or maybe for something that we've told them. So this is going to change. This is just the beginning spot of where we're looking. So you may not be able to see this from your seat. If you can't, I'll just tell you what's on the list. Rooftop unit replacements. We talked about Moorfield Elementary and East Hardy Elementary. That's on there. Building envelope improvements is making sure your buildings are sealed properly. You're not losing heated air out the window or cooled air out the window or out of crack, in the ceiling or where the building comes together. Water conservation, you may be paying for water that you're getting treated from the public utility, and you're also paying for it to go through the sewer. So if we can save water, we're going to save on two areas. Something else we're looking at. Water meter resizing is another thing we're looking at. And that's just in 2 facilities, and we believe that we could save you money if we got a smaller meter, okay? And I'm not gonna go into it any further than that, just because we're not certain, but we're pretty sure that we could save you money by doing that on 2 facilities. The way that we look at these items is if they didn't pay back within the 15-year term that is allowed by law, maybe it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Because by West Virginia code, you can do a performance contract within a term of 15 years. So you would like for these items, at least average together, pay back within the 15-year term. Pays for itself. You know what I mean? So anyway, we've got high efficiency transformers on the list, building controls for your facilities, water source heat pump replacements at 1 facility. That's East Hardy Elementary there, emergency generator replacement, and converting electric boilers to possibly propane. These are just things we're looking at this moment in time. And as we're getting more information, as our engineers are going back, meeting with contractors, looking at those exact items, this sheet can change. And as we're getting closer to the contract, it's going to get drawn down to a optimized project that's going to be financially feasible. That's the goal. So for the solar PV, which I believe is why this whole process was started, is so that you all could take advantage of the tax credits that are available to you, and they are still available. We have looked into this fairly deeply. We believe that the district, could get up to 34% back of their money if they do a solar project. For these are the, let's see, we've looked at East Hardy Elementary, East Hardy High School, Moorfield Elementary, Moorfield Intermediate, Moorfield Middle for ground mount and also roof mount. And, you know, normally if you put it on a roof, you'd like to have a new roof on the building. So these are just things that we're assessing right now, and we haven't come up with the costs and how much money, like if you generated money and you sold it back to the electric company and so on. We haven't come back with those numbers yet. At our 60% meeting, we're hoping to have those numbers for the county. So this is kind of where we're at right now. So that's the solar. The one thing that we have recommended to the county with regard to solar is going to construction for the whole project by December, because the requirements for solar are going to change by 2026 with regard to domestic content of what's in your construction items and also foreign entities of concern. And what that means is basically those rules are going to change in January of 2026, and it's going to be more difficult, and price volatility, we believe the prices will be going up. So it's important that we get to construction by December. So we're also working on an SBA project request for funding for you all. And in that project is Moorfield Elementary HVAC, the whole system, new flooring at Moorfield Elementary Gym, and the East Hardy Elementary elevator. So we're working on that, and I'm going to show you the timeline. This is my last slide. So basically right now, I have a contract that is just the terms and conditions without the scope and the exhibits that I'm going to submit for legal review to Mr. Staggers. Also, we're going to have our 60% meeting September the 9th. And our submission to the SBA is due September the 12th. So then the 90% meeting on your performance contracting project is planned for September 24th. And in the meantime, we're going to be working on soliciting for financing proposals. And this is, you know, let's just call it a 30-day process, or maybe a little bit longer. But we can be doing that as we're working on the contract. Kind of this stuff goes hand in hand. And we'll have a general idea of what we believe the finance, you'll be asking for financing wise. So then October 9th, we think our audit review will be complete. And remember, as we're going towards the final contract and completing the audit, all that's coming together as we're walking down that path. And we're going to be bringing that contract to the board for review on October the 20th. And I'm hoping that I can come back to another board meeting or two between now and then to give you more information. So this is really just introductory. And in December, we would like to get our interconnection application approvals for solar and start construction by December the 15th. That's really the goal. So pretty much that's all I have right now. That's all I can tell you in 10 minutes, and there's a lot more to it. So I'd like to take any questions that you might have, and I hope I can answer them. You guys have any questions?
Not yet.
Not yet. I know you will. I mean, I just hope that I did okay to give you an overview of how all this process works. And, you know, if you, oh, I do have cards for you. So if you do have any questions and you want to give me a call or anything, I'm willing to, you know, talk to you on the phone or anything you need. You have a question, ma'am?
I do. In your overview, you said there's no upfront cost,
Correct.
but yet in your slides and you're emphasizing ideas for securing financing.
Right. Well, see, we're already working for you. You're not paying a penny, right? So there's no upfront cost. So let's say you go and do your financing for the project. So you don't have to pay back your financing until construction's complete. So that is how these projects can be done. You can actually set up your financing to where you don't even have to pay back your financing until construction is complete. Because some people or some counties or some customers do not have any money put towards these projects, and they have needs to get things done, and they have to figure out a way to do it. So if you think of it along the lines of you're gonna build a home, for yourself, you get a construction loan for that, it's similar to that. So you're actually gonna get a loan to do this project, and you don't have to make the payments until the construction is complete. You start seeing the savings for the project to help you pay back the loan.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Audra.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Bonnie.
She brought you donuts too, by the way, so make sure you eat them.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Next up, Bonnie Kreitz is gonna do student achievement and recognition, talk about the testing data for the 2024-25 school year. So you should all have a copy of that.
I'm just gonna give you a minute to look over it. I'm not gonna go over like every single grade at every single school and like the percent, but that is all in there if you want to see. Like East Hardy Elementary, third grade, math scores. So those are all in there. I'll give you a couple minutes to look at those. And then I was gonna go over just the end of that, which is where I compile Hardy County like into one.
I'm gonna hand these out while you're reading that, just so you have everything you'll need from me too.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll see you Friday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Likewise.
So the pages I was going to go over, you're looking for the ones that look like this. I'll just show you my computer instead. So it should be page like 16.
What's the title one?
At or
At
above
or
the
above.
format funding. And there's one for literacy and then. So this is your combined test scores for the entire county. So that's why I was gonna go over these, and not individual schools, individual grades. So you can see, and I laid this out so you can see where everybody was at the beginning of the year and compare that. So that's gonna be your blue column, the beginning. And then the end of the year is kind of the pink color. So in kindergarten through third grade, I put data on here from STAR, which is what we used last year. At the beginning of the year, there were a lot less students in each of those grades that were on level. So in kindergarten, you had 75 on level. At the end of the year, there were 122 students who were on level according to that STAR testing in kindergarten. For first grade, you had 49 out of 115 tested. So there were a lot less tested that first benchmark in first grade. And then at the end of the year, you had 93 that were on level. This is on level or above. So this does include kids who were in that top level too. Second grade, you had 76 to start, and at the end of the year, there were 96 out of 155. And then third grade, for STAR, there were 76 students on level at the beginning of the year, and there were 90 on level at the end of the year. What I always find interesting, and I put both of these on here on purpose, is in third grade, you use the STAR benchmark, but we also do the West Virginia Summative Assessment benchmark test. And the scores are drastically different, like drastically. So in STAR, you had 76 students in third grade that were supposedly on level at the beginning of the year. According to the benchmark test that's given by the state, there were only 6. So it makes you question the validity of the STAR testing. Or the benchmark testing, I'm not sure which one, but they are obviously not compatible in what they're measuring. So that's always interesting to look at. So this is all of this is in ELA. So third grade on the benchmark test at the beginning of the year from the state, there were 6 kids on level. At the end of the year, there were 51. So there were significant improvements made. That continues. Fourth grade, you went from 25 to 57, 17 to 54. In sixth grade, 20 to 53. Then you went from 30 to 66. Eighth grade, 45. At the end of the year, 81. At the end of the year, ninth grade, from 49 to 55. 10th grade, 48 to 61, and 41 to 59 in 11th grade. Not as much of an improvement in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. So you're not seeing as much growth in those grades in the literacy. And then I put this on a graph because sometimes it makes it easier to like look at those lines. So K1, 2, and 3, the star is on the first graph that you see. And so you can see the lines are all going up for the most part. In third grade, it stayed level on the second benchmark at the end of the year. And then in the next graph, you'll see the 3rd through 11th grade. The one thing that stood out to me on this is the 10th grade line that goes 48, 85, 61. Like, what's happened? I don't know. I don't know what that test was like. But it was interesting because at the second benchmark, there were a lot more students who were on level, and then by the end of the year, it dropped back off. And so I don't know if that has to do with Moorfield High School having been on block schedule and students in 10th grade having like ELA first semester, and then they didn't have it the whole second semester. That was kind of my guess. I don't know that because I don't know the individual students, and that would be something that Amanda Campbell would need to look at. But that would be my guess.
I know they were highly impressed with that 10th grade English teacher and the work he was doing
So
at that benchmark at that time.
So anyways, that was the one thing that stood out. The 9th grade dipped down a little bit at the end of the year too, but not significantly like that. And then the next one you'll see is for numeracy. So this is from math. So for STAR, similar, where you have, it appears that there are a lot more students who are on level compared to the general summative assessment. You see that when you look at those third graders. So in kindergarten, you had 75 who are at level to begin with, and 122 at the end of the year. First grade went from 50 to 107, second grade 78 to 108, and then third grade from 70 to 94. And then you look at that same third grade with the state test and only 2 were on level to begin the year. At the end of the year, 65, so the growth there is significant, according to the state benchmark test. In 4th grade, we went from 7 students on level to 52. In 5th grade, there were 4 students who were on or above level to 57. 6th grade, we went from 3 to 27. 7th grade went from 7 to 45. 8th grade went from 6 to 64. In 9th grade, it went from 18 to 30. 10th grade, 15 to 29. And 11th grade, it decreased from 22 to 18.
Have you spoken with people that analyze these statistics from other counties or from the state and expressed your concern about the difference between the STAR and the benchmark?
I have not.
We didn't renew STAR this year, so we're no longer using STAR, which is from the Renaissance group. We don't use them any longer. We went with iReady. So iReady is much more aligned in our past experience to what the state measures and how they measure it, if that helps.
And I think, are all the schools doing both? I think Mr. Sutler told me he was doing.
Yes, so they're doing both the iReady and the state benchmark, so we'll be able.
See, like, if iReady is pretty similar to the state this
Yes.
year, once
Yes.
they get done taking all of those. And I think that's a good move.
Yeah, they need to practice taking those
Yeah.
questions that are similar to the state assessment.
Absolutely.
I think the difference, like just from having a little experience with both, I think STAR was more so looking at like basic skills and not that application and higher level. Is what I think the difference was.
Yeah, I remember when Mr. Armentrout, he was the first one to use it, wasn't he? And didn't he really tell the,
You hear more about it from that grade level because they don't take the state assessment. So
Uh-huh.
it's just kind of their only measurement. So you hear him speak to it a lot, but
Okay.
yeah.
And then I put some graphs in there because it is a little bit easier to see what's happening with the data from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. The math at the high school level is a little concerning because I mean, in the one case, you had less students on level at the end of the year than at the beginning of the year. I don't know, once again, if that was because of block scheduling, when students were taking math. I don't know if it's because high schoolers at the end of the year don't care, and so they just put answers down. I'm not 100% sure what happened with that end of year benchmark data, but it's not great at the high school level. The rest of the grades though look
It's
really
even
good, and
worse
there were
than the beginning of the
significant
year.
growth.
Yeah.
So,
That was the same teacher, I assume, the whole year in math over there.
Mhm.
and they actually had.
We have
a
certified teachers.
teacher.
In math, yeah, we did. And so if you look at the 3 sheets that I gave you, you'll see that the blue is math, the yellow, I'm talking about the upper right-hand corner of the chart. The yellow is ELA and the red is science. We'll just start with math. And this is in order least to greatest on proficiency in the state on countywide and a countywide average. So as you're looking at that, you'll see where Hardy County falls across the board in mathematics. You will see that we were at 32%. Now, I will tell you that's up a little bit from last year. We were at 28.15 last year, so we're up a little. Still not good enough. I'll also tell you that Moorfield High School's math itself was 3.9% proficient for 11th grade. Now remember, at the high school, the only thing the state's measuring are your juniors. That is really, really, really low. That is really low. So what you saw on Bonnie's data that we did benchmark all year long compared to what you see here, I think you'll see that connection.
Would you repeat that?
3.9% proficient.
I thought that's what
Yeah, okay, so when it came in, I was really hopeful that the state had actually made a mistake and double checked that. And unfortunately, that is accurate. So considering that one of our 6 schools was 3.9%, and as a county, we're at 32%, and still made overall growth, we have things going on that are working in other areas. Mrs. Campbell has a really good plan. She and the new assistant principal are actually team teaching with the math teachers. They're in one particular classroom a couple days of the week actually teaching math with those teachers. We have the interventionist assigned to specific kids in that classroom that are struggling. And as you know, we're on an 8-period day. So math will be taught the entire year, beginning to end, which I'm hoping you'll see significant growth. The thing that's hard is you won't hear anything out of that junior class again. So what we measured that was 3.9%, that class is not going to be assessed anymore. You're going to get another group of juniors. So you're not going to be able to measure apples to apples, but you're going to be able to see hopefully an adjustment based upon changes in instruction, changes in the scheduling and that kind of thing.
East Hardy has math scores better.
Yes, they were 20, I don't have it in front of me, 24%, I think.
Still.
Yeah, still not great. I'm not thinking 24% isn't great, but when you're looking at 3.9, I mean, heck, that's pretty significant. Yeah, me too.
They should not be that way.
Yeah. Well, and their ELA was nothing. Not anywhere near that low. Overall English language arts, we were looking at Hardy is at 42.4%. And you'll see that we're right there in that cluster. 42 to 44 is the majority of that middle of the page. So I feel like we fell there where, the majority of the state would be. And then our science was actually our highest in comparison. We're at 28.2%, but compared to the rest of the counties, we're higher on that. Now we've made growth, like I said, 28.15 was our overall math last year, and now it's 32.0. And our overall ELA last year was 41.4. Now we're at 42.4. So we did increase in those areas, but we'll talk a little bit more about that when we look at our goals here in a little while. And I'll share with you how those things are going to tie together. But
So the testing on juniors, there is no way of tracking what this last year grades would be?
right. So the only data we have would be our benchmark data, which are these the Horizon benchmarks that we take. So we can look at that group. But that junior class, I believe, is the class that was doing poorly even on the benchmark, right?
Yeah,
They were the ones that did poorly last year on the benchmark that reflected poorly then at the end of the year. But the state testing, the only thing they take 9 through 12 is the SAT, and they take that their junior year. There's a few things to consider, and you've heard me, and this not acceptable. The 3.9% is not acceptable. I don't think the 24% is either, but you're giving a college prep test to juniors in March, April, March, that, you got to think they haven't had their senior year. Some of them haven't had their final math class. And we only have about 30% of our kids that go to college. And out of those 30%, it's lower than that even actually stay in and complete college. So when you look at that and you think about all the kids that are taking the test, our NOCTI scores were wonderful. I mean, we were 70 some percent NOCTI pass rate. So when you look at those kids, what they're training to do, what we're teaching them to do, and what they're being assessed on based upon their career choice, they're doing well. But then those same kids also have to take the SAT, which is a college prep course. 3.9% though, I'm not really sure how you try to do poorly and get that bad. I would think that there would be a way to.
What's the difference in teaching between the two schools? Are you teaching the same?
Yeah. I mean, we have strong certified math teachers that have worked with us for years. Yeah.
I think maybe it was the block scheduling. When you only have math for half of a year,
Makes a big difference.
it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I think,
Had math for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And then they test on it, and then there you are.
I probably tried to get away from the lot.
That's why I was like, well,
And now they don't have blocks, so hopefully this year, we'll see a huge jump in that.
Putnam County always do so well.
They
That's not a real big county.
they do not have a really big county. They have been very strong for many, many years. It's a John Hudson, we've talked to their superintendent. They have a couple things they do and they just do them all the time and have done them for 30 years and haven't changed them.
Even Pocahontas
And that just works.
had good scores.
Yeah.
That's about as rural as you can get.
I think we were misled about the block scheduling then, because when they came to us, they told us how much better the
Test
grades
scores would
would be
be.
at the end of that block scheduling. So it was a wise move going away from that.
Yeah, and we tracked that and we did see, I mean, I think one year they were at 11% proficient in math in particular. You just saw it so much impacted through math scores. For the last 4 years, they've been really hitting hard, especially. So I'm very hopeful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. Appreciate you.
Okay, so next up, we have CTE and technology updates.
She recorded you a presentation. Oh, there we go.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time. I also want to thank you for allowing me to submit my director's report by video this evening. With the holiday yesterday, I ended up double booked today. So while I'm not able to be with you in person, I recognize how important it is for you to get these updates, and I appreciate your flexibility. If you have any questions, please make a note, and I'll be happy to reach out with a response in real time. So first off, our technology department update. As of this morning, all our IT work orders are being addressed within 5 days or less. The majority of the open tickets are related to classroom devices that require some maintenance after sitting over summer, or some individual printers have timed out with the break and they simply need to be reconnected. In the interest of transparency, correction has been made regarding the NHS camera work order that appeared to show several cameras down for an extended period of time. That ticket was left open while awaiting parts for 2 external cameras, and even though all others had been repaired, this gave the impression that those cameras at the work order were still offline. To resolve this, the original ticket has been closed and a new one has been opened specifically for the 2 cameras that are still awaiting the replacement parts. Coverage at Northwood High School is uninterrupted as there are additional cameras that overlap to ensure that there are no blind spots while we wait on those parts. This summer, the district also upgraded security systems by installing the Verkada Command Connectors platform at the schools that had the ACD cameras purchased through the Homeland Security Grant. These schools include Morfield High School, East Hardy Elementary, East Hardy High School, and Morfield Middle School. The conversion process is complete at Morfield High School, East Hardy High School, and Morfield Middle School. At East Hardy Elementary, the system has been installed, but a few cameras still need to be connected. This work order will be finalized by the end of next week by Tony. Until then, East Hardy Elementary School cameras remain operational in the old system. The upgrade was implemented to resolve the blackouts and lag that were caused by high data volume on the previous system. Since the start of the school year, no principals viewing cameras with the new system have reported any of these same issues. Additionally, principals have expressed appreciation for the new system's flexibility, which now allows them to access footage from multiple devices through a browser, which means they can get to it on the go, rather than being limited to a single workstation in their office. The district's 2,700 in-user devices are also being brought back online as staff and students return. Software and security updates that were pushed over summer required devices to be powered on to complete those installations. As of this morning, only 4 devices remain in the process of updating to the most current operating system. Also ensure that parent access codes for Schoology are available for guardians to generate an account that allows them to check their student progress in real time. New this year, guardians will be able to see the Mastery tab, which is a more detailed look at how their students are performing in the course, which is based on mastering the standards specific to their assignments in the grade book. We're rolling this function out with an emphasis in math classes, grades 1 through 4, but all teachers that attended the PD sessions opening week were trained on how to utilize the Mastery tab in their classrooms if they would like to adopt it as well. We're encouraging all parents and guardians for students of all ages to sign up for Schoology, as there's also a weekly email generated at the end of each week This email allows them to see what work their student has turned in, what their current grade is for the marking period, and more. This is an attempt to increase outreach and communication between guardians and parents and teachers. Finally, I'd like to note the importance of the district's optional device damage waiver program. Last year, the district experienced over $1,000 in damages that went unpaid. While not all devices from every building are being sent home, damages have still occurred in classrooms, making the waiver an important safeguard for our families. The cost of the program remains unchanged. It's $40 for one child, $70 for two, and $100 for 3 children or more. Enrollment forms for the optional waiver program are being distributed in back-to-school paperwork by school secretaries and our tech support staff. Families can also complete the process online by visiting the Hardy County Schools website, clicking the menu button in the top right-hand corner, and then clicking on the technology department title. Families can make payments or opt in 24/7 using the Square link provided the first 14 days back to school. That wraps up the tech report, and now we'll transition into CTE. The work-based learning coordinator position at the Launchpad will continue to be funded this year through our CTE grant funds. This role provides students with a consistent adult point of contact while working in the simulated workplace buildings, which is ensuring strong supervision and support as they engage in their career-aligned learning experiences. Plans are also underway for further integration of the Launchpad into community events. The program is exploring opportunities to participate in Heritage Weekend, which would provide additional exposure for student work and highlight the district's commitment to connecting education with the local community. In addition, due to ongoing HVAC construction at the middle school, this year's regional FFA tractor driving event will be relocated to the Launchpad pending space availability. The final decision on the event's location is expected in the next coming weeks. The Launchpad Farmers Market has also taken steps towards expanding its outreach, having submitted the required paperwork to sell fresh produce directly to the community from the district's high tunnels and greenhouses. Meanwhile, each of the agriculture programs are working towards an additional USDA inspection for their meat labs. This certification would allow students to sell processed pork products such as sausage created through their animal processing courses to the community. At the state level, the CTE portal has not yet opened with the Department of Ed, resulting in a delay in officially rostering our students for our work-based learning opportunities in WEBUS. However, we have a workaround in the interim. We're still maintaining accurate local records through signed work-based learning agreements, ensuring that our student learning experiences continue without interruption. Our Grow Your Own program for educators is experiencing a shift at the state level due to a rift from the program head, Department Ed, and funding reallocations at the state level, but I share that with you to share this. Our local educators program with the 4 educator preparation courses will continue to be available. We've actually taken steps this year to further expand the program to East Hardy High School, where Michelle Wolf will be spearheading opportunities for high school students interested in career in education and spending time in elementary classrooms at East Hardy Elementary. Holly Lindale and Michelle are also actively working towards chartering the Educators Rising chapter this academic year, a student organization designed for preparing future educators. We'll have more information about our Grow Your Own apprenticeship aspect related to that once we get some additional clarification from the state. Looking ahead, Hardy County Schools, in partnership with Eastern West Virginia Community and Technical College, will present at the Department of Ed CTE Administrators Conference on September 16th. The joint presentation will showcase the district's success in building a seamless bridge from high school to higher ed through program-aligned dual credit opportunities, highlighting our model of collaboration that benefits both our students and our broader community. That wraps up the director's report. If you have any questions, please forward those along. Thank you guys for your time.
All right, there are no public comments. Next on the agenda are the consent items.
Motion to approve consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. Any discussion? All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we're approved by a vote. Under unfinished business, we have approval of CTE embedded credit policy IDKA, which is attachment 3.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the policy. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it's approved by vote. I think that's a real positive policy. Under new business, we've got superintendent goals and board goals.
All right, here are my proposed board goals. If you'll take one of those. Can I have one? Thanks. And here's superintendent goals, and you'll see that they are the same. There are some specifics on the back related to the responsibilities of each of us as a group. All right, so the superintendent goals and the board goals, as we've done in the past, that seem to have worked really well, are the same focus. And then they align really well with our strategic plan goals as well. So we are all working towards the same things. The one thing that I did here different this year than we've done in the past is we've focused on both ELA and mathematic growth. And overall, our ELA scores have been mid to higher in the state. So I'm less concerned. We'll still continue to obviously support, provide PD, do all the things we've been doing for our ELA teachers and ELA in general. We still support the science of reading. That's part of what we do naturally. But I just put in our goals, I specifically put mathematics. And what I said was 75% of the students demonstrate 1 year's growth or more in mathematics. Meaning you might have a kid that's 2 years behind who maybe isn't going to test proficient, but when we look at that end of year data based upon those scores, we want to see at least a year's growth for that kid, hopefully more. But our goal would be to not let them get any farther behind and get that year's growth. So that should close the gap for us. Now, these are up for you to approve or to change tonight. So you can make any adjustments that you want if you don't like any of this. Focusing on 2% increase for attendance. Our attendance is very strong anyway. That's something that we do pretty well. And then I kept and added the fiscal responsibility thing here that we had done, just because I feel like that's something we need to keep our thumb on and continue to work together to focus on staying strong fiscally. But do you have any concerns or thoughts on these?
We need to approve them.
Mm-hmm.
Motion to approve. Second. Separate superintendent's goals and police station goals for 25, 26.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And they are approved 5-0. I see on the back on Board Ed that we have, there's a couple, there's things for us to do. So do we have them on a calendar where?
So what we'll do is, once you guys approve these, Sean is going to take, she puts sticky notes and keeps track of, at this agenda, at this quarter, we'll do this.
Okay.
And so you'll get your
Okay.
regular check-ins based on
All
that
right.
schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll build it in for you.
Okay, good. All right. Well, and, it'll be interesting to see about absenteeism.
Mm-hmm.
You always have a few and
Yeah.
see how all that goes, so. Okay, next up, board member superintendent discussion, no action may be taken.
Did you pass that on there, Dix, if you pass those out?
I'm sorry.
This is the only thing that I had for you guys. This was an update that we received from the back's not on it. Do you guys have the back? Oh my gosh, I didn't copy it front and back. I'll email it to you. My apologies. Essentially, it's an update from Sheila Paetzel, who's the special ed director for the State Department. I'm so sorry. I just realized it was cut off. It's telling you that the training that is required per House Bill 2499 on the special ed procedures, if you're going to be at the School Board Association training this coming weekend, you'll get that training there. If not, you have until December 25th or 31st to get that. I think it's the 31st. Yeah, December 31st to get it. Beth will be trained and she's taking a team. So you'll have to get that at some point before December 31st to be in compliance. And it has to be an in-person training. So I think, Mr. Harper, you're not going this weekend, right? So you'll have to get with Beth. We'll make sure she gets it to you before the 31st. But that's required training per House Bill 2499. And I will forward that to you guys. My apologies. Just wanted to provide you with that update so you knew what was happening there. And that's the only thing that I had. I do have a formula for building usage that I'd printed out for you to look at, but we were passing it around all looking at it and it never made its way back to me, or if it did, I lost it. So I'll put that on the next agenda so you all can review that as well.
I have a question about that. Will that change our policy on our use of the building?
You won't have to change the policy. I think we can just do it as an administrative memo as to how it'll be calculated. And then just have it on record. But what I'll tell you, what it averaged out to be was $50 an hour if you're going to have the building for 4 hours or less. If you're going to have the building for more than 4 hours, you pay the full amount. And that way, that'll just be a formula we use based upon somebody's choosing, no matter who they are, to use it for less than that amount of time. We can calculate it as an hourly rate. But $50 ended up being, with the 225, anywhere from 8 to 10 hours of usage. It ended up being like $52 to $48, the average. So if you just took the average of that, it was $50, and it seemed like that was reasonable.
Not really, like if they use it for 2 hours and 15 minutes, they pay for 3.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can definitely look at that and figure that out. I didn't have that in the formula, but we can
Yeah.
just use the
Rather than
laws of rounding to probably figure
Yeah.
that one out. Yeah.
any portion that they use, then it goes up to the next hour
Yeah.
figure.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Keeps it
You
simple.
can add that in there.
Yeah.
That'll
Well,
work.
and if they're really worried about it, it'll make sure that they get out of the building
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than lingering.
And staying longer than they're supposed to.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Who's gonna be the timekeeper though? Is that up to the,
Principals, they monitor all the usage at the building, so it'll be up to the principal at the building to make sure they have a way to get in, make sure they're out by their assigned times, and
get in and locked out?
yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking about CT and the launch pad. I know that sometimes they're open over there and you're not sure exactly when they're there.
Mhm.
I wish there was a way that we could promote that. And it seems like we can promote everything else, but we didn't do a very good job at that last year, I didn't think.
Okay.
You know, I think they were open 2 days a week from,
Wednesday
Yeah,
and
like 1 to
Thursday.
1 to 2:30 or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, and I don't know what their schedule will be this year if they have that established yet, but I'll tell her to make sure we get it so we can promote
Well,
it.
they could put it up on that thing out front of the,
They have
Sign.
they have a sign out there, yeah.
that marquee thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and I assume the cafe and all that will be open this year.
I would assume so. Mhm. I haven't heard anything any different about changing their plans.
When it's open, when it's closed.
Yeah.
Occasionally I drive by and see there's somebody there and it's,
Maybe
Too late to
we
stop.
need to
Well, there's a sign.
waves and it says open.
I don't think it's
Can't
ever
see
written
it.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Especially
idea.
if
Yeah.
you're just driving by, you know, you.
I think
Mhm.
with the operation of that, we need to promote it and get people in there.
Yeah, I agree.
My gosh.
I'll tell Jessica to check on that and let us know and get a plan for promotion.
Anything else for? Okay.
Nothing for me.
So our next meeting is September 22nd, and it's going to be at East Party High School at 5 o'clock. mission statements and accomplishments.
I want to thank Lisa Walker, I have a camper trailer over at the north bottom, and my door was open in my camper, and she called, and no one had broke in, I mean, he hadn't shut the door.
Oh, that's,
We were battling
that's
hands, so I sent my wife over with the dogs, but I did call and thank her. And told her sheriff's all right again to let me know.
The mighty Pekingese.
Now, these are Pomeranians.
Oh, I mean, Pomeranians, yeah. You don't think of them as guard dogs, but they're probably yapping like
Yeah, oh, yeah,
normal,
big time, yeah.
tell you about it.
too. Yeah. Okay, so I guess next, mission statements and accomplishments. Anybody else have anything? I was tickled to death that both the young men and the young women won their first soccer match.
Yeah.
That was good. Was excited about that, and I guess East Hardy High School won their football game. No, so we both lost our openers. Okay, well, let's hope they do better. Bless their hearts. That's not a good way to start.
We can extend condolences to Charles Hedrick's. His daughter passed away. And so I did send per request a card from the board. Charles Hedrick's daughter passed away in a car accident this past, was it
on
Sunday a
before.
week ago.
Was
Yeah.
Going towards Petersburg, or past Petersburg, between Petersburg and
The
Franklin,
youngest
but
one or the oldest?
the youngest one. Yeah. But I sent a card from the board members just so.
Okay, we ready to go into personnel?
Just one thing, future agenda items, you're gonna make sure that Baker Park is on that next time.
Yes, we are.
Oh, under discussion, that article that was in the Examiner about the community grant, that sounds like good stuff.
Oh, the 21st century grant?
Yeah.
Yes, that is good stuff. Jennifer can give you an update on that at the next meeting too and tell you what all that involves on our end and
Well, I read it, because I read it.
good. I haven't read the
It sounded
Examiner
like
this
all
week.
the-
Good.
A lot of opportunities.
Yes, it is a good one.
Yeah.
Look at staff to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll be good. It will be good. All right, you ready for personnel? All right. I will recommend Casey Campbell Trent as a custodian 2 at Moorfield High School. Kiana Funk, both as a substitute aide and secretary. Haley Hours, ECAT aide pre-K at Moorfield Elementary School to ECAT aide kindergarten at Moorfield Elementary School for the 25-26 school year. Heidi Bailey, restricted short-term substitute countywide. Lacey Kessner, Randall Wolf, Michelle Wolf, Angela Mathias, and Henry Hodges, all as leadership team at East Hardy High School. Also, Lisa Funkhauser as leadership team at East Hardy High School. Lisa Funkhauser as co-yearbook coordinator with Jeannie Brown for East Hardy High School. Madeline Vance, academic interventionist at Moorfield Middle, and Deborah Hubbard, academic interventionist at East Hardy High School. Athletic hirings, Justin Whitaker, authorized certified coach without pay for football, East Hardy High's 7th and 8th grade. Derek Brill, authorized certified coach without pay for boys basketball, East Hardy High School. Jared Combs, authorized certified coach without pay for golf at East Hardy High School. Blake Funk, authorized certified coach without pay football, Moorfield High School. Dylan Ruddle, Moorfield High School custodian, change of work hours for athletic events only, effective August 28th. Beverly Mathias is a volunteer at Moorfield Elementary School. Sherry Hinkle, volunteer at East Hardy Elementary School. Jacob Matheny as a volunteer team support personnel for football at Moorfield High School. Benjamin Wetzel, volunteer team support personnel football, Moorfield Middle School. Brandon Barb, volunteer team support personnel football, Moorfield Middle School. And recommend the approval of the resignation of Brian Everson, custodian at Moorfield Middle School and Central Office, with an effective date of August the 26th.
I have a motion and a second to approve the recommended personnel actions by the superintendent. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And they're approved by vote.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn the meeting at 6:14. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And we're adjourned.